Turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking on the freedom land. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around. No, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom land. Ain't gonna let discrimination turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Gonna let discrimination turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom land. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom.
Good evening, and welcome to We Believe Digital Studios and our weekly Monday night 6:30 Sizzling in Mississippi show. My name's Chris Young, and of course alongside I have the one and only Maati, Jone, Primm. How are you this evening?
Doing great. How are you, Chris?
Green and lovely.
Okay.
You're bringing it. But we're glad to be here, and certainly apologize for missing last week. I was very much under the weather last week and really didn't kind of pull the plug till the last minute, but so glad to be back, feeling much better, and glad to be back with you this week. And we've got some stories, not all, most related, of course, to Mississippi, but not all. But I just wanted to start out with, that Equal Justice Institute, this brainchild of attorney Brian Stevenson, a really wonderful man that's helped so many, especially young people, falsely accused, getting them exonerated and so forth. But this Equal Justice Institute produces this calendar, and I was just looking at today's date, and 2009, Maati, 2009, May 8th, 2009, so that's just 14 years ago.
Yes.
Stephen Joshua Dinkle of the Ozark, Alabama chapter of the International Keystone Knights to the Ku Klux Klan, burned a cross in a local black neighborhood, joined by a KKK recruit named Thomas Wendell Smith. Dinkle targeted the neighborhood because of the race of its residents. Just 14 years ago?
Yeah.
14 years ago, burning a cross in a black neighborhood. We're going to show you.
Right. But that's one indication, but there's been other cross burning since then.
Yeah.
There's also been lynchings. There's been black men found hanging from trees since then, and it's been more than too many.
And remember the race car driver? How long ago was that?
Right.
3, 2, 3.
It wasn't long.
They downplayed that.
You're right.
Just
right.
looked like a noose.
Right. Yeah.
Hanging into his stall where his vehicle is.
Yes. But nobody else got the news but him.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Well, so we just want to welcome you. We do have a call-in number, 1-800-492-5186. We're joined in the studio tonight with our one and only producer, Ariel, and she's going to put up some pictures tonight. We're starting off with Rasheem Carter. We reported to you quite extensively on that just a short while ago. I had made a trip over to Taylorsville to see what I could learn. Here's a 25-year-old black man, father of a young daughter.
Right.
I want to say seven.
Yes.
7-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. He had a restaurant in Fayette, Mississippi, named after his daughter.
Yes.
But things dried up during the COVID, so he resorted back to basics. He's a trained welder, and he took a contract job over in Taylorsville, basically 100 miles away from Fayette, where he lived, with a big, I don't have the name of the company right now, but, something went awry over there, and next thing you know, he felt like his white supervisor was out to get him.
Right.
Next thing you know, he's calling his mother saying that these white men are chasing him in pickup trucks.
Right.
And pulling up to stop sign beside him, yelling words at him,
Right.
the bad words and stuff, and threatening him. His mother tells him, go to the police. He goes to the police, and they look out the window. They say, well, we don't see no pickup trucks out here chasing you. Go on and get out of here. And he told him he was in fear for his life. And they said,
refused to allow him to stay there.
you can't, this not a drop-in center.
Right.
Can't stay here.
Right.
And he begged him for a ride back to the Super 8 motel up in
Laurel.
Laurel, thank you. And they let him know we're no taxi service.
Right.
It's about 18, 20 miles away.
Right.
Anyway, showed up again the next day. In the meantime, text back and forth, low battery on the phone. The mother said she was going to send somebody, some sort of a mutual friend of the family, whatever, headed over there. By the time they got there to the jailhouse, he was gone.
Right.
Never seen again breathing, except on a field camera.
Right. Yeah. A hunter's camera. And we see him running.
Shirtless.
Shirtless, bruised,
Right.
cut. He's shirtless and he's wearing jeans that he had on, but his jeans are soaked in water. They're wet. And we just see the back of him, but he looks as though he's in great distress.
And this is Smith County now, so we're really, what did I say, 65 miles from Jackson, something like that, adjacent to Rankin County, which we'll get to in a little bit, but in Smith County, Taylorsville, and disappeared, gone, poof, out of thin air on October 2nd. On November 2nd, body parts are discovered in a nearby field. The sheriff over there says ain't no foul play here. The animals must have got him. He shouldn't have been out in the woods or something.
Well, he wouldn't have had to have been out in the woods if the police had done their jobs.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
He was beheaded.
Yes.
He was dismembered. 25-year-old black man, 65 miles away from Jackson, a place called Taylorsville, Mississippi.
His penis was severed and put in his mouth, so that when they discovered the little bit of his remains that they did discover, they discovered his skull with his penis decaying in the mouth area. They found some other bones of his away from that area, and how they could determine that there was no foul play after they had seen him for 2 days asking for help is really beyond me.
And then again on February 23rd, more remains were found.
Yes.
But the public didn't know about that. But somehow or another, at the end of last month, they let the family know that they had found more remains in a different location, and that the DNA was a match to Rasheem Carter, and they let them know that via email. And Ben Crump is on and they organized a protest rally. That was on April 29th.
Right.
So I think it was a week before that they had found that more remains February 23rd. The family didn't know about it till the third week of April.
Yeah.
And
the first remains that the family received were so few that it fit into a box the size of a shoe box.
And so you got Ben Crump on the case.
Right.
He's asking for a DOJ investigation. He's asking for a civil rights investigation. And this is an example of why we're sizzling in Mississippi in 2023, to have, this 25-year-old man has some sort of disagreement with a white supervisor at work, and he's got to wind up dead over it
Right.
because he's a black man and they're not.
Right.
Well,
it's not because he's a black man. It's because his murderers and the system that affords these murderers are racist. But they're not just racist, they're racial terrorists. And that's
and
the reason for it.
they certainly don't go around targeting their own race, so they're targeting others.
Right. They're targeting black people.
It's just a sad commentary, but we said at the time, we're not going to let you forget about Rasheem Carter's name, and we're not going to do that. We're going to try and keep you updated on that as we go along. And the next one, we said Rankin County.
Right.
And Rankin County, we have the case of Michael Corey Jenkins.
Right.
We have the attorney Malik Shabazz.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know him by chance?
I do.
Yeah.
I've met him.
And this was back in January. This is another black man back in January at a friend's home visiting, when all of a sudden 6 Rankin County deputies come barging through the doors. They proclaimed that it was a drug bust. And one report I saw said that they found between 2 and 10 grams of methamphetamine, and no weapons, and 2 to 10 grams of methamphetamine, and you got 6 people barging through the door. So it sounded like they thought there was a whole lot more going on there than was going on over there.
Right. I think
that's what they report, by the way.
Yes.
We don't know.
Right. We don't even know if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, an attorney, and they tortured this man and his friend for about at least a 90-minute period of time by reports from several different sources, and put, they used stun guns on these 2 men for a period up to 90 minutes. They laid them down on the floor and poured milk over their faces.
Yeah.
Isn't that, I don't know if I ever heard of that one. You heard of that one?
Yes, I have. They used to do that in the civil rights movement with protesters who were sitting in.
That more superiority, on you?
Widening up their victims. Yeah, so I've heard of it.
And then as the reports read, they made the 2 shower together, and then comes the presence of a sex toy when these 2 young men are in the shower, and I guess they're making them shower together to clean up, so they could haul them into the station or something.
Well, no.
To clear away the evidence of what they've been doing, or something.
It's just another form of torture. Emasculating them.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, and the special response team, and apparently Rankin County has what they refer to as a special response team. Yeah. And one report, I want to say it was the Clarion Ledger, but I didn't put it in here, said that this special response team has been involved in 6 incidents where complaints have come out, and 4 of those 6 were black people were the targets.
Yeah. Well, Rankin County, we should assume such.
And so Attorney Malik Shabazz is, they already have a DOJ investigation open. He's asking that a civil rights investigation be opened on the entire Sheriff Brian Bailey and the Rankin County Sheriff's Department. He wants the whole bunch investigated, and he cites precedent of Ferguson and Louisville, among other places where it started out with, a group of officers But by the time they finished, they saw enough where they decided to broaden the scope of the investigation to the whole department. So and they ultimately put a gun in his mouth and fired shots.
Yes.
And he survived he survived that, and the press conference a couple of weeks ago or last week with his mother,
right, and father,
and
it's so disgusting, and that shower, forcing them to take a shower, that's sexual harassment, and it's sexual assault. So you're dealing with redneck sexual deviant who attempted to murder a man by shooting him in his mouth.
And who thinks of stuff like that? I mean,
sexual deviant rednecks. Just
in the thing with the milk and everything. I mean, it just yeah,
racist. Yeah, would do something like that. No one else would. It's funny that looking at Rankin County, which the media seems to be in bed with Rankin County because they don't really report on what Rankin County is really like. It's a horrible place. It is the meth capital of Mississippi. It is a Klan stronghold. It is a place where black people really, really try to avoid any type of so-called law enforcement. It's a horrible place.
And that reminds me of that chasing thing with the, as you've reminded us many times, they say you crossed the line, or they say you swerved, or they say you had a taillight out. But next thing you know, you're chasing people across the line into Hinds County. Remember that young postal worker?
Right, but he's not the only one. Yeah, the postal worker was on his job, and they come through without regard for human life, the Rankin County Sheriff's Office, and they come through speeding, chasing someone for whatever offense they think they've done. It's not proven yet, because they haven't gone to court. But they chase these people down high-speed chases without regards to human lives in Jackson. And they have killed innocent bystanders who've just been caught in this chase. And it's happened so many times.
So where do it's just, and we can talk about this till we're blue in the face, but until we can find some type of lever of resistance to push back and bring about change, we just keep sizzling in Mississippi.
Yeah.
We've run up against the end of our first segment, so we're going to dip out just for a couple commercials. We'll be right back.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.Dot grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
And welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. Chris Young alongside Maati, Jone, Primm. Just running through some stories of oppression of people here in Mississippi. Rasheem Carter providing a little update on that. Michael Corey Jenkins, an update on his situation. Thanks so much for joining us in the chat. We're seeing people, Miss Jones, Mr. Floyd, and other people. Thank you so much for joining us. We're glad you're part of this community. We want to learn and grow together. We want to try to figure out solutions together. We want to make sure people have a voice first and foremost. So thank you very much for joining us. And you know, Maati, today I saw some in the news about this young Anna Wolf.
Yes.
28 years old, comes to us from Tacoma, Washington. Investigative journalist. All her professional expertise has been here, has been here in Mississippi.
Okay.
And she created this back channel investigation. It's this young Caucasian lady here that you see on your screen, who I've met, spent a little bit of time with. I was honored to meet her, a 28-year-old woman, but she was taken with some comments that I made publicly in a forum over at the Capitol Club, where I challenged the state auditor, Mr. White, about, why can't he do a report? He's a big report. He's a report writing machine, but he can't seem to do a report on why Mississippi is so backward. He can't seem to do a report on what is holding us back. He can't seem to tell the truth out loud about that topic, but writes reports about everything else.
Yeah.
And Miss Wolf was in attendance, and she lagged behind after the event to meet me, and I felt so honored, because here I am reading whenever she put stuff into Mississippi Today. I'm all over it.
Yeah.
And because I feel like, wow, how is she getting this? This is but yeah, so we stood there for 20 minutes talking about things and sharing things, and just a remarkable young woman. And I sent her an email today because it was just announced today that her and the Mississippi Today have won the Pulitzer. And they just don't give those things out. And just last week it was announced that she had won the Nellie Bly Award for investigative reporting, and now less than a week later, a Pulitzer Prize for her for local journalism, and also both her and Mississippi Today get the award. And so I just wanted to bring that up. You got any thoughts about Anna Wolf and this whole TANF investigation and all that?
Well, it's important, and I'm so glad that someone has brought more attention to it. It's something that they've tried to sweep under the rug, and you just can't. It's just too horrible situation to think that monies that were earmarked for poor people in Mississippi have gone to, what is that, Southern Mississippi?
Oh, the volleyball stadium.
Yeah, to the volleyball stadium at Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg. And so they get to play volleyball in a new $3 million building while people starve, while people are out of doors, malnourished, ill, in need of help, deserving help, but can't get it because they want a few young people to be able to play indoors in glamour. It's disgusting.
The fitness boot camps, which ties into the current governor.
Yeah.
Just this extravagance.
Mm-hmm.
Sending certain wrestlers' sons or something to rehab out in Malibu, left coast Malibu.
Okay.
Just crazy cuckoo bananas. I mean, they take tens of $1 million and turn it into a slush fund.
Yeah.
For their own selfish. And every last one of them be calling themselves a Christian.
CNOs.
casinos, and Christian in name only, and it's just a sad commentary. But I can't say everything, but it appears that in very, very large measure, everything we know about this scandal is because of that young lady whose picture up on the screen right now. So God bless Anna Wolf. I sent her an email today. I congratulated her. I said, if you'll allow me, I am so proud of you. You know, she's just a doggedly determined. Mm-hmm. She won't be deterred. Yes. She's persistent. She just devoted countless hours. You can always go to Mississippi Today and read online the up to either 7 or 8 parts now called the Back Channel investigation. Give you all the numbers, you know, like how Governor Bryant was set to, because not only the volleyball stadium, but they're going to give Brett Favre this money to invest in the drug company for Prebicus, I believe it's called, mm-hmm. where what's the injury? The football players get this injury with the head.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so the research and this drug is going to help these people and all this, these football players, and until the day before he got out of office, the last governor Bryant was set to receive all kinds of stock in that company as a result of the money that had been channeled for their research efforts.
Wow.
And he pulled the plug the day before he left office, because by then
it was everybody knew
the dime had been dropped.
Yes.
And so and you got grown up people running around like Bryant, and also like this Mr. Shadrack to be exact. You talk about they blew the whistle. Maati.
Yeah.
It don't smell right.
No. Why would they? Why would they blow the whistle?
Yeah. So there's much more to come out.
Yeah.
Miss Anna Wolf will certainly be a part of that. Yeah. And you know, the truth is that the Democrats, not right off the bat, but more recently, over the last 8-9 months, Democrats have held hearings on this on 2 different occasions. The Republican legislators have not held one hearing. You haven't heard our Republican governor pressing in the public. I want to see the Republican legislature hold hearings on this. This is an atrocity, the worst embezzlement in Mississippi history. Right. You don't hear that.
No.
Nor do you hear it out of the beloved Delbert Hosemann that so many people think so highly of. Why is he not calling for for hearings? Or that Philip Gunn, who's opted out now.
Right.
Why is he not calling for hearings?
Right.
So you have prominent Mississippi Republicans that not only do they not hold hearings, but the people that have the voice, the people that have the ear of the people more often than not, they don't ask for it either.
No.
They just simply say, well, we'll let the legal process take its course.
And it doesn't.
And it does not. Well, I mean, it's slow going.
Yeah.
I think they managed to rake back, I don't know.
That's been voluntarily given back, but not all of the money has been given.
Oh, not even close, not even half.
No, I mean, even Brett Favre was like, well, I'll return the money, but he didn't return all of it.
And there's no sanctions either. I sent a letter to the lady that runs the ACF program for the federal government. Didn't get a response, but I sent the letter anyway. But there doesn't appear to be any sanctioning whatsoever. In one of Miss Wolf's articles, she indicated that annual monies continue to pour in. And at one point, she reported that as little as 1.5% of the money provided from the feds was provided to actual human people, not programs, but direct payments to people.
But see, this is a problem Mississippi has all the time. Whenever Mississippi gets money from the federal government, and it should be earmarked for a certain purpose, and it's not. It never goes that way.
There's no accountability.
No,
And we never know
no.
because of the way they keep track.
Right. And look at the water situation. Hundreds of millions of dollars given by the federal government to Jackson
Yeah.
to help fix the water crisis. And it doesn't get here.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know exactly what's going on.
Right.
I heard the mayor say at one town hall meeting that 600 million is already in the accounts in Jackson. 600 million from the feds,
Right.
with promises for another 200 million.
Yeah, million. Right.
Over
But
in
the state's trying to take that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so far they have not succeeded, but we
No.
still don't know. It'd be nice if this third-party administrator can just drop it doesn't have to be a complicated report, but just drop something in the news media, press release, once a month or once a quarter.
Okay.
Hey, this is what we're doing, and generally speaking, this is what we've accomplished so far. This is what we spent the money on. Wouldn't that go a long way to help the citizenry
It would.
who've been lied to repeatedly and disenfranchised? Wouldn't it,
yeah. But when it comes to seeking knowledge, all you have to do is take a trip from Jackson. Go north into Ridgeland and Madison.
Yeah.
Go east into Flowood, and Pearl.
Every time I
Yeah.
drive up to, I go to the Walmart up there. A lot of
Okay.
times I'll go to the Walmart up there.
Okay.
Being an old guy or retired, living on retired money, that's where I go to do my grocery shopping.
Okay.
And so, and so when I go up there, I go up the interstate and exit at, what is that, north side, right? To go down to that Walmart over there.
Okay.
I don't run into one pothole.
No. Yeah. Because you're not in Jackson. Yeah. But we have these legislators who are from everywhere outside of Jackson complaining about Jackson. And oh, isn't it terrible in Jackson? And it's a leadership problem. No, it's a problem that the budget of Jackson does not stay in Jackson. That's the problem.
Yeah, and that not only do they claim incompetent leadership, which isn't that interesting that they can.
How do they?
They're self-ordained authorities on what's
Right.
competent and what's not.
Right.
And not only that, but they introduce bills, no pre-planning,
No.
no session ahead of time. Hey, let's have a powwow. Is there any way we can help you guys out? And
Right.
we see you're struggling.
Right.
How can we help? Let's sit down. Let's
Right.
craft some bills together.
Right. No,
No,
you don't get
no.
that. You don't get them speaking to the citizens of Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of all these town hall meetings that occur all around the city,
Yeah.
they haven't attended one.
No shows.
They don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but we covered a lot of ground on that one.
Yeah.
Started out with that TANF and kept right on rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you asked me a question when we spoke earlier today by phone about this. How significant is this coronation?
Charles. Yeah. The second or
The third.
the third. Okay.
And this is quite a topic, the
Yeah.
significance of this.
Right.
So we
Well,
got.
it seems like in the media that it's not how significant, but just how grand it is. Isn't this lovely?
How grand.
And should it have been a modern coronation, or should it have been a traditional one? There's people in England who are against the idea of continuing to have a monarchy, but they're low. They're just a minority. They're not significant, not compared to the people that are standing out here on the parade route. Well, of course, if you're going to the parade, you of course would support the monarchy, but if you're not in support of the monarchy, no, I wouldn't expect you to attend. I think you would do something like what Meghan Markle did and go for a long walk. But they somehow expect, it's, the way that he's talked about as King of England, but he's, the king. And this is the coronation.
Right.
As if there aren't any other ones anywhere ever that existed in the world, but only in the English monarchy.
Well, at one time, and you used the word earlier today, British Empire. At one time, if I researched it properly, 56 different countries.
Yes.
Under the British rule.
Right. The sun, at one time it was more than that, and they would say that the sun never sets on the British Empire.
They say at one point 50% of the land
Yes.
in the world as we know it
Right.
under British rule.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately.
And now down to the UK and 14 other countries,
Yeah.
sovereign states.
Yeah. They're not sovereign.
Well, no, I'm sorry. It's the exact opposite of that. And then the Bahamas not the Bahamas. Who am I thinking of?
Jamaica.
Jamaica became. Was it Jamaica in 2021? It became a sovereign state.
Okay. But the culture of Jamaica is so infused with the English culture.
Yeah.
Everyone there has an English name. It's so weird. You'll see a brother standing on the corner and you ask him what his name is, and he'll be like, "I'm Ambrose Lexington." Really? Come on, brother.
Well, the list that I came up with shows 14. It shows, and this is from a very recent article. I want to say it was BBC. Antigua and Barbuda, Jamaica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
Right.
the Bahamas, Belize, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, and Tuvalu.
Right. But really, America is almost a British colony, just in terms of the reverence and the culture, but not necessarily power-wise.
Dr. Biden attended.
Yes, the wife.
Dark Brandon didn't go. Dark Brandon didn't go.
No. And we had, and then Meghan Markle didn't attend.
She didn't attend.
Right.
Harry attended, but he wasn't out on the balcony.
No, and they put him on the third row. Yeah. And he left right afterwards.
It's a good place for a spare. That's what he called his book, Spare.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what you get.
Powerful.
Very much so. But the influence and the attention that is given to Britain by America, one would almost think that America is still a colony of England.
Yeah.
Just by the reverence.
Did you see the money that they spent? I saw the money on two different sources.
Yeah. I saw the gold carriage and I thought about where that gold came from.
And that,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The gold carriage that they insist on using,
Yes.
but they say it's notorious, it's a horrible ride, it shake you to pieces,
Okay.
but they insist on doing it anyway.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Just opulence,
Yes.
extravagance.
Yeah, but in a bad way. It's not paid for and it's not earned.
Stolen.
Yes, stolen.
And
Gold from places like Ghana, West Africa.
$125 million for that coronation event.
I
$125
can't
million.
imagine. I don't even know where did that go. Where did it go?
You got
already had-
security, you got all the staff, you got overtime for the popo, all that and more.
Yeah. Oh,
They probably had people hired to hold up fans to try and
Yeah.
keep the rain from
yeah.
coming.
And then the and then the crown, when you look at that and the jewels on it are dipped in blood.
We got a picture up there of the new king, but it's not the one in all the coronation regalia.
Right.
The cape and the cape and the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what was it? Maybe 4 years ago, he expressed. You better sit down for this one.
Okay.
Personal sorrow as he learned more about the transatlantic slave trade.
Okay.
He publicly indicated that he expressed personal sorrow.
But he owns 2 plantations in the Delta to this day, where the black workers there
Yeah.
are underpaid
Yeah.
and maltreated.
I heard him speak up at the College of William and Mary. I'm trying to remember what year that was, but it was many moons ago. But it had to. Well, God, it almost came to me. But it was downright odd. Just sitting. I was, of course, in the way back with the nobodies and the. But it was very odd to listen to him speak so lofty and. I just don't understand it.
Well, it's greed. Yeah, just greed.
Yeah.
Greed for wealth, greed for power, greed for sitting on a throne that isn't earned. And
Not
that
earned.
throne is, underneath the throne are just bodies.
We did it again, Maati. We ran right through this second segment. So we're just going to stop for a couple commercials. We'll be right back with you for the last segment.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
And welcome back to We Believe Digital, Sizzling in Mississippi. And we were just talking about this coronation of the king. Lots to not understand about all that. One of the polls that of Brits said that 29% of the Brits, and this number has been steadily declining, it's down to 29% said that the monarchy was something that they view as very important. So maybe that represents, all the people out on the procession route or whatever.
Right.
It's interesting to me to watch the talking heads here in the United States, the way they cover it and everything.
Right.
It's like they transform into different sorts of people.
Right. Yeah, like groupies.
Like groupies.
Yeah. They're fans. They're definite fans.
And so we'll see what happens. One thing that this new King Charles III, one thing he did do that had not been done before, I don't know, maybe it seemed like, but he did include leading figures from different faiths apparently, according to the Washington Post, that had not been done previously. So he had Muslim and Sikh and Hindu folks that were there. Tried to give some sort of a prominent role. They say his issues are like the environment and environment, and it's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay.
And climate.
Okay.
Climate and the environment, and something about interfaith cooperation or something like that. The article mentioned those. So they pointed out that yes, these number of people from different faiths were, because then part of that coordination is he becomes the head of the Church of England,
Right.
And so that's that's his peer group now.
Right. Yes.
So
But he controls, that
Oh, yeah.
that faith.
Sure.
And what it means, the impact of religion on Great Britain largely sits in his hands.
Absolutely.
Now, he doesn't have much other power.
Even the Archbishop of Canterbury, they said, is a figure. It's like a figurehead
Right.
because
Right.
technically he runs the church.
Right.
Bizarre.
Right. And then Parliament and,
Yeah.
and prime ministers run everything else, including world banking system and finance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Quite a powerful nation there.
So we'll let go. Oh, the other thing too I want to mention before we just have to move on from this, those little kids. When you see those pictures of those little kids.
Oh, of the monarchy, yeah. The royal family, as they're called, which is amazing. They never have to use a nation's name. They're just the royal family.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think of those little kids, and
What do you think of them? Are they privileged or
well,
spoiled?
of course.
Or spoiled? You know what I mean? Are they spoiled by the privilege, or are they empowered by the privilege?
Well, I just think, when you have so much opulence that you can circumnavigate just about any difficulty that comes your way,
Right.
then how do you build character?
Right.
It's one thing, in other words, when somebody starts out at a certain point and makes their way to a high station in life.
Right.
But those little kids from day one, it's just, they have everything.
Right.
So there's something about when I see those pictures, everybody's saying, ooh, look at little this and little her and little him, and they get all goo goo gaga and excited, and I'm thinking thoughts of sadness, like it's just the way my brain works.
Right. Well, when you look at their fathers, I can see why you would think that. They lost their mother. Camilla is now the consort queen, who was their father's mistress while he was married to their mother. So you can imagine that some part of these two men have a real feeling for that. It's very emotionally trying for them, I'm sure. Especially considering how Diana died. Yeah.
And it looked like they tried to keep so much. I believe that was 1997. They tried to keep so much of that from the public view.
Right. Yeah. The stiff upper lip and but it's got to be terribly painful. Probably the lack of really being close to people, and the people who are closest to you wondering while they're there, do you really like me, or do you just want to say that you're hanging out with the future King of England?
Yeah. Well, off we go, King Charles. Thank you for comments in the chat, Miss Jones and others. Definitely hear you about that cover up in Rankin County. And Maati, you said you wanted to speak about Morgan Freeman And you know, I got to tell you, just the other day, I watched a Morgan Freeman movie that I'd never seen before. It was called The Contract.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Bizarre movie.
Okay.
Bizarre movie, but you know, he is my favorite actor.
Okay.
There, you know, and I keep thinking one of these times I run up to Clarksdale,
Yes.
that I'm going to run into him, but I always go there in the afternoon. There's something about going there in the evening and perhaps having an adult beverage or two,
Yes.
and then having that long drive back. You know, no.
Yeah.
No.
Kind of daunting, isn't it?
Yeah, so I go in the afternoon.
Yes.
Get a nice fried chicken sandwich, have a cold beer, you know,
Yeah.
and just take the place in up there.
Okay.
You know,
Taking the ambiance.
yeah, and I ask every time, has he been? And
Yeah.
you don't even say the name, you just say he.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
okay. Wow.
And
Okay.
the help. And
Yes, yes.
You know, the people working there. Oh yeah, last Thursday night.
Yeah. He loves being in Mississippi. He loves Mississippi. Apparently, recently he had stated in an interview that he resented being called an African American,
Okay.
and that he should only be referred to as an American.
Okay.
I have an opposite experience. I would prefer to be called an African, and I identify that way, much less an American. I'm an African living in America,
First and foremost.
first and foremost. He is the opposite. He also stated that he resented there being a Black History Month because he felt that we were relegated to that, not just by circumstance, but by choice of people like Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who created Black History Month. Well, really, what needs to be understood about Black History Month is that Black History Month is actually a way of centering the idea of studying Black history all through the year, and then for February to be the month in which we really talk about what we have learned in the last 12 months and what we intend to do in the future, and to spread the knowledge in a very meaningful and attractive way. If we didn't have Black History Month, we wouldn't have a lot of the recognition for Black history that we currently do. I don't think that the recognition is in any way sufficient, but it's certainly significant, and it has drawn people to look and consider Black history in a way that never was done before. The advent of Black History Month, which started in 1976. Before that, it was Black History Month, and initially it was Black History Day.
Under Ford, I think Ford signed the papers on that.
Well, we didn't do it through that. It was done through idea called Kuji-Chagalia, which is self-determination. We determined as Black people for ourselves that 1 week wasn't a clear and sufficient indication, so we gave ourselves the month. And the reason why it was the month was because it was the month in which Frederick Douglass's birthday was created, and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So, yeah.
I love how you are a cornucopia of knowledge on all that. You know, I wrote
Everything Black, I got you.
and I wrote an article on you know, a big long, but I can't remember everything about it. But I do remember it started out as a week,
Right.
and then it expanded,
Right.
And I think when the federal government said, you know, that we're going to declare the month of February to be Black History Month, I think it was Ford. I think it was Ford or.
But see, Black
Carter.
people didn't care. We didn't care.
No,
if-
I hear
yeah,
it. I hear
yeah.
it.
We
but
just did it.
I always think of that in the context that, once again, your federal government is just like the federal government keeps sending TANF money
Right.
to Mississippi despite their despicable behavior with it.
Right.
And the federal government showcases this month, whether or not people need them to do that or not.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody follows suit. We even have other countries, several other countries.
Oh, yes. Oh,
that
absolutely.
celebrate
Around the world.
Black History Month
Right.
in February.
Right.
And yet we have states like Mississippi, the government of Mississippi don't acknowledge it.
Right, right,
Confederate heritage.
right.
Well, that they acknowledge.
That they acknowledge. Confederate History Month, April,
Yeah.
every year. Yeah. People like Delbert Holtzman were the initial promoters of it. Just
Really?
to make sure. Yes, yes. When it became official. Yeah, he wrote letters to all the business owners in Mississippi indicating that April would thereby forever be known as Confederate History Month, and I believe it's like the third Monday of April would be known as Confederate Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Yes, and these are holidays
I
in
thought that
Mississippi.
had been going on long before Delbert Hoseman.
Well, Virginia had made it official, and as soon as Virginia did, then Governor Barber, who was governor at the time, made it official in Mississippi.
Some people say he's still the governor.
Well, yeah, he has a lot of influence, always has.
Yeah.
You know, he ran the Republican National Committee.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very
And considered running for president.
Yeah. And he has a son
Okay,
that's absolutely following in his footsteps.
okay.
Republican strategist.
Yes, okay.
I wrote Governor Barber, Haley Barber. I wrote him a letter
Okay.
and sent it to his personal address up in Yazoo
Kansas
City.
Yes.
But I did not get a response.
Well, I'm not surprised because I've had people who are longtime residents of Yazoo City tell me that at one time black people could not walk on the sidewalk in front of the Barber home. And that would have been a time when he probably, his father was alive.
Okay.
Yeah, his parents were alive.
Okay.
But that was a no-no. Black people had to walk on the street.
Wow. So wrapping up on Morgan Freeman, I think, is it fair to say that while you understand his perspective, it's just not one that you can agree with on that?
Well, I don't really understand it because I'm proud to be black and I'm proud to be African. I happen to live in America. That wasn't my choice, nor was it the choice of my ancestors who were dragged over here, chained to the bottom of ships, which indicates to anybody that it's against their will. But I think that it needs that our identity must be respected, and we must respect it. So that's where the African part comes in. To just say that you're an American, I don't know what that really is, because even white people say, well, I'm if you ask a white person in America what their nationality is, they typically don't say American. They'll talk about whatever country their ancestors came from in Europe. I'm Irish, I'm Italian, I'm German.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, I'm African.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just say I'm a mongrel,
Okay.
Western European mongrel.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Because it's spread. My daughter made me do the thing.
Oh, the DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she had pushed me on that.
And you're from everywhere.
No, I'm just saying all basically Western Europe, a little bit
Yeah.
into Italy.
Okay.
And dispelling of a part of the family lore that we got on my father's side
Okay.
from his mother. Always told us we were 25% Indian.
Okay.
Yeah. No record of that in the DNA.
What was that?
No record of
Oh, no, I mean your hand.
being American Indian.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
the forehead dot. Not right.
Well,
And so,
forehead dot.
well, too simplistic.
It's not really simplistic. It's racist.
Oh, for God's sake.
It is.
Oh.
It's a Bindi,
Okay.
but Eastern Indian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Indian that we had been told was not of that ilk at all. And when you get the DNA report, there was no record of any Indian
Okay.
blood.
Okay.
So, but she had told us that repeatedly. I mean, the whole time we were growing up.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if she had learned that and was just passing it on or what.
Well, there was the Dawes record, and so
Dawes.
and there were white people who for $5 could claim Indian heritage and therefore be awarded certain monies and privileges.
I wonder if that's connected.
So that may have done it.
Okay.
That may have been the reason. They called them $5 Indians.
Do you think that, really? Yikes. Do you think that, I'm trying to wrap my brain around why Morgan Freeman is saying that. Certainly he knows his lineage. Do you think it's possible that it's a higher, loftier type, that he sees the damage of, this separation, by race, and that he's trying in some way to, do you think that's what he might be after?
No.
What do you think it is then?
I think he's an assimilationist.
Okay. So you think it's just so, over time, Hollywood and multi-millions and...
Yeah. He wants to be an American.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a hard turn.
Yeah. I mean, who would want to do Driving Miss Daisy?
Yeah.
If you didn't identify as an American, why would you do Driving Miss Daisy?
Huh.
Probably wouldn't. But an American would play that part.
Interesting. I'm trying to think of other roles where that same dynamic was going on.
It's like
Zillions of them.
Yeah.
So they don't really look at that. They don't really look at that stuff. They just look at $10 million for this movie or whatever it is.
Well, I guess so. Some people feel that Driving Miss Daisy has a wonderful message of uplift, and I don't see it.
Yeah.
I never did. It's a tough movie for me to watch. I've seen bits and pieces of it, and
Like The Help.
yeah. But at least I don't like the story of The Help. I don't like the way that the author disenfranchised the persons who are actually, her characters are based on real people, and she did not pay them. She didn't pay the black people. And I have a problem with that. It's terrible.
The author of that was...
Catherine Stockard or something. But she turned out to be not a reformer, but a person of definitely the status quo.
we talked about this before on the show.
Yeah, a case of maintaining the racial hierarchy.
Stockley.
Yeah, Stockley.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Stock somebody.
Yeah.
And even my business is in her book.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I take offense to the way that she treated the black people whom she characterized in her book. Yeah. Didn't take much creativity to just report what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she made the white people a lot kinder than they actually were, because I've spoken to a lot of people who did domestic work back then or whose parents did. Yeah. So.
Any final comments before we roll out?
Well, I do want to pay condolences to the family of Judge Loretta Stokes, who passed away yesterday. And it's tough to lose a loved one, and I know that her husband, Kenneth Stokes, you couldn't hardly see one without seeing the other one. And so my prayers and condolences go out to the Stokes family.
I was seeing on email earlier, several of the judges in the area have published statements of the same.
Yes.
Very influential. And the senior judge in her court here also, county court.
All right.
Didn't know that before today.
Sure.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back with you again next Monday night at 6:30 and try and bring you some more things to think about, talk about. If you ever have any ideas for for stories or whatever, give us a call. Talk to the producer. Let her know. We'll be happy to look into that for you. But in the meantime, take good care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next Monday night.